Second, during the lecture, please turn off your microphone unless allowed by the moderator. Third, please fill your attendance through bit.ly/GLS_attendance. And our committee will also send the attendance links in the chat box. And for participants who wish to get an e-certificate and stamp, please fill the attendance 15 minutes after the session starts. And last but not least, participants who wish to ask questions during the question and answer session, please send your question through bit.ly/GLS_Q&A. And the link for the question listed in the chat room as well. And or you can ask directly by clicking the raise hand feature. And today's GLS on SDGs will present a topic entitled Service Excellence for Academic Sustainability that will be delivered by Professor Voon from University Teknologi Mara. And this lecture will be moderated by Ibu Gita Widibawika, SST MMT from ITS. So before we start our agenda, allow me to deliver our schedule today as follows. First, opening by MC. And second, introduction to moderator and speaker. Third, lecture session. Fourth, Q&A session, and then followed by the certificate awarding and then the closing session. And before we proceed to the next agenda, let me introduce our moderator for today's event. Okay, so for the moderator, we have Ibu Gita Widibawika, SSTMMT from ITS, and she graduated from ITS from Department of Technology Management, and her professional experience and membership is currently she is the head of Business Technology Innovation Laboratory at Department of Technology Management ITS, and also the member of OWSP and IEEE PEMS, and also certified as a supply chain analyst. And her field of expertise is the technology management. So now, without further ado, let's proceed to the main agenda. Ibu Gita, the time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Denti, for having me as a moderator for this session today. So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Nice to meet you guys. And then good afternoon, Professor Voon. Okay, before
yes, good afternoon. Good afternoon to everyone.
Good afternoon. And then before we started to the next session, we can introduce our speaker today. So I would like to read our speaker CV. Professor Voon from University Teknologi Mara, was graduated from University Utara Malaysia of Bachelor of Economics in 1993, and then he was graduated from Master of Business Administration from Heriot-Watt University, UK, and finally he got his doctoral degree of business administration from University of South Australia in 2005. And he also have experience in 1998 until 2000 as a lecturer in economics at tourism marketing in INTI College Sarawak. And now he works as assessor in Sarawak State Civil Service Leadership Institute, also as lecturer, as professor in University Teknologi Mara Sarawak. He also got many awards and recognition, such as Best Researcher at UITM, Social Science category in 2014, Service Excellence Award in UITM in several years, 2002, 2007, 2013, and also 2018. He also got PP medal awarded by Sarawak government in 2019, and also got Professor of Marketing in University Teknologi Mara. Okay, without further ado, let's go on to next session. Professor Voon, time is yours.
Thank you very much, MC. Yeah. So today I have the privilege to share with all of us our colleagues in Indonesia and also in Malaysia, other parts of the world. Yeah, I understand that there are many students coming today. And also we have lecturers, other docents in it. Right? So I think most of you are students. Am I right? Yeah. All right. So today I will be sharing with all of us a topic on service excellence for academic sustainability. Right. So allow me to share with you the slides that I have. Right. Hold on. Okay. Way to share that. Okay. So, all right. Can all of us see the screen?
Yeah, we can see it perfect, Prof. Voon.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Good. So I just entitled this Service Excellence for Academic Sustainability. All right. I hope you will learn something from me. Basically, I will be talking about some of the related theories with regards to this culture of service excellence, service management, and also sustainability for the academic institutions and also higher education services. Yeah, in the field of higher education especially. So thank you for this Institute Technology 10 November ITS for inviting me for this guest lecture series, right, on sustainable development goals. Of course, we understand that there are 17 goals. One of them, of course, is education, right? So it is good that I have this opportunity to share with you some of the knowledge that I have and also experiences, as well as the research findings that I have gathered all these years. Yeah, so this afternoon I will spend about 1 hour sharing with all of us, right? Just for your information, I would like to share with all of you. I'm actually from University Technology Mara, Cawangan, Sarawak, meaning the Sarawak branch, right? You know where Sarawak is? It's not very far from all of you, right? Especially if you are from Indonesia, right? In fact, we are neighbor, right? We are neighbors. Yeah. And I actually found this journal, the International Journal of Service Management and Sustainability. In short, we call it IJSM SUST, right? So I am the chief editor for this journal. So I just want to take this opportunity to welcome all of us to submit any manuscripts to this index journal, right? So it is indexed in ASEAN Citation Index and also in Malaysian Citation Index, okay? So that is just to promote a little bit before I forget, right? And you can know my work, all right, in this ORCID ID here. I think the secretariat will share with all of us the slides later on, right? And also I think this is recorded, okay? So far, okay? Can you hear me clearly? Is everything all right?
Yeah, so.
Okay, Gita? Let me move on. All right, I think it's quite important for us to know where we are, right? Yeah, as I share with you this Borneo Island here, okay? Kuching is somewhere here. So now I'm talking from here, this small red dot here, right? And your future Ibu Kota will be somewhere here, right? The bigger red dot here, right? And you are in Surabaya,
right?
Right? Are you excited? Your new capital is here. Yeah, East Kalimantan. So very soon we will be here, all of us. Yeah, You see, here, this island is going to be very populated, I believe, right? Yes. Okay. So I think it's very important to talk about this sustainable development, especially in the context of higher education, whereby we really emphasize this natural aspect, the natural environmental aspect, and also the economic aspect, as well as the social inclusion in the context of higher education. And of course, this afternoon, I will be emphasizing the culture of service excellence. And let us see how we can, through this organizational culture and also this personal culture for service excellence, right? To how to say, to leverage this higher education service to benefit the target market for sustainability. All right. So you can see here, this Borneo Island, actually Kuching is here, and then Indonesia, right? And some of us are from other parts of the world, right? So of course, in terms of education, I just want to share with you this particular picture here. What can you see here? You can see a very big tree, right? My focus is on this particular old big tree, right? So the philosophy of education is just like this old big tree here. This because it takes many years, you know, for this particular tree to grow up to this size and up to this quality, you know, right? And it can just stand strong like this. It is not a few months or a few days, but it takes many, many years. And I would like to tell you this particular tree is in Kuching City, right? Yeah, I remember when my father last time got married to my mother, when they met, this tree was already as tall as this, already as tall and as big as this already, right? So in the context of education, we want to always refer to this big old tree, you know, because in Chinese there is such a saying, you know, in order to educate an individual, right, or to train an individual, to nurture, right, an individual to be educated and with the moral and ethics, right, it takes many years, you know, right? So there is such a idiom, 百年树人. Today we learn something, 百年树人. Right, that's how you read, 百年树人. Okay, so in fact, I put down here, it takes 100 years to educate, train, and nurture a person. So this tells us that an educator like most of us and students, you are learning, right? We have to be passionate, empathic, caring, and also long-term oriented in the teaching and learning process in order to educate individuals or groups of individuals or a target community, because it is just not a short-term process or kind of a service, right? So if you look at it as an educational sector, it takes years, you know, and if you look at certain education, high quality educational institutions, schools, institutes, universities, colleges, right? In fact, you can see that there are high quality institutions for many years. And instead of organizational performance and development, it takes many years. In terms of educating the individuals, we have to understand that it is not a short-term journey in order to educate one person. And of course, that also leads us to another philosophy of lifelong learning, right? And we have to actually not stopping to learn. And same goes to the educators or the institutions, right? So this learning process is ongoing, and it may take a long journey, right? And our attitude is we don't actually stop learning. As an educators, also we don't stop teaching. At the same time, we also learn, right? I like the way that how these Chinese educators address the students, right? They use this term 同学, 同学, right? 同学们 meaning, hi dear students, right? 同学, Tong is together, 学 is learning. So you as an educator, you also learn, while you are teaching. And these groups of people you are educating, in fact, you are teaching them at the same time. Also, you learn from them, right? Same goes to the schools or the universities and the institutions. Yeah, as an organization, the organization is learning, and then the groups are also learning. The individuals are also learning. At the same time, those co-learners, the students, are learning from us. At the same time, they are also contributing, right? That's why in these education processes, it involves this core service, service co-creation, right? So this education service has to be co-created by the educators and also the learners, right? If it is the institutions and organizations, you have to coexist with the various stakeholders to deliver this higher education service. And also, you also learn from the target markets that you are serving. And it is an ongoing process. It most likely will be a long-term process. That's why this sustainability concept is very important. If we look at education as a long process, you will see that whatever we do, whatever we say, the way that we do things will be different, because whatever we say or whatever we think, whatever we have, the ways that we do things, right, will impact the future of the others. In this case, could be the students, could be the parents, could be the employers, could be the industry at large that you are going to produce your graduates to serve. So it is having this kind of long-term mentality. So I would like to remind us that this higher education service is a strategic service sector, as a lot of nations are emphasizing service sector, and its contribution to GDP is increasing, right? Like Indonesia is having this service sector contributing almost half to the nation's GDP. Malaysia is having this service sector contributing to also about half of the GDP. Of course, Sarawak is relatively still need to improve in terms of its service sector contribution to the overall GDP. So you see that this service sector, including this higher education service as a subsector, is contributing greatly to the nation's income. And this particular sector itself is a strategic sector in a way that it serves it provides the very important product to the target market. And this human capital development is a very important asset to the nation building and also for sustainable development. Okay. So I will say that this higher education is a strategic economic sector for all nations, right? Not only for Southeast Asian nations. I will say every nation will emphasize education. Just the extent of emphasis may differ. And the governmental and societal concerns for higher education service excellence have been increasingly you can see that more important for sustainable development. Of course, the service structure may be differing from one nation to the other, based on their comparative advantage, because certain nation may be wanting to focus on certain industrial sector for their sustainable development. But you can see that this higher education service is playing a very important role to produce these talents, and also to increase the quality human capital, right? Thus, it is very appropriate to promote and research on institutional excellence among the various kinds of institutions of higher learning, as well as developing a strategic approach for service excellence. Because the quality of the graduates and also the impacts of these higher learning institutions depends on the quality of the institutions, and also the quality of the graduates, and also the research and development contributions to the community service, and also the collaboration with the industry, right? And if these higher learning institutions are of excellent in terms of its production, and also in terms of the service management, and also relationship with others, right? Working with other stakeholders, you will find that the strategic role of the institutions of higher learning will be really significant to the nation building. All right, so this afternoon I will be focusing on the culture of excellence for the institutional performance, and also a later part of the talk will be more to the individual level of the service culture. Right, the differentiated and dynamic needs and wants of the target markets, of course, must be well understood and responded to. So that is supposed to be the organizational culture, continuous and consistent learning, kind of this organizational learning, because the targets that the target markets that we are serving, right, are always changing in terms of the expectations and in terms of the needs, right? So you can see that the courses that we are offering, right, and the ways that we are actually teaching and learning may have to be relevant to the industrial needs, and also to meet the needs and wants of the different types of the customers, right? May they be the students or the employers or the governmental and societal needs, all right? So the institutions which are serving the right target markets and service-oriented in their management practices, we most probably perform much better, and we'll be able to contribute to the nations and to achieve this, what we call the shared prosperity. All right. So of course, in Malaysia, in our 12th Malaysian plan, you can see that we emphasize this shared prosperity, because we believe that social inclusion is important, that the economic prosperity should be shared across different groups of people, right? From the lower income group to the middle income group to the higher income group, the income distribution and also the distribution of various economic opportunities, social opportunities and advancement need to be having this equitable distribution. I think that is very important, being one of the components of sustainable development. So same goes to this higher education sector. These sustainable triple bottom lines have to be emphasized, right? The natural environment, the economic aspect, and also the social inclusion aspect in providing these higher education services, in managing these higher education service institutions, and also in producing the products to the markets that we are serving. So the high performing institutions have been emphasizing the key areas of service delivery in meeting the requirements and expectations of all the stakeholders. May they be the students, the employers, parents, employees, right? And of course, the strengths and the weaknesses of the service delivery system are identified and responded to accordingly. So you find that these organizational performance and also these service delivery processes have to be continuously evaluated, right? Monitored and improved continuously, right? Or else the institutions may not be sustainable, and then this important sector will not be sustainable, and of course it cannot be contributing meaningfully and of course strategically to the nation's sustainable development, right? So for instance, focusing on district and local level administration, providing efficient and multi-channel government customer interface, and of course simplifying the systems and work procedures, right? Review, streamlining the regulatory requirements, human resource development, the ICT applications and infrastructure to support the service delivery, and of course having these strategic collaborations between the institutions and the industry. And all this most likely we have to be done comprehensively, right? And of course a lot of institutions will be emphasizing this a total approach, for instance, manage across the whole value chain of this higher education institution, or the service creation and delivery. Or some institutions will be emphasizing this total quality management, because to have these high performing institutions of higher learning, there are so many aspects, procedures, systems that we really have to continuously and consistently manage. And the organizational culture has to be very conducive and performance oriented. Okay, so today I want to go into more detail. What do you mean by this organizational culture, specifically the culture of service excellence? Because mediocre or moderate quality is insufficient. We need to go for excellent level kind of service management. All right, and of course this continuous evaluation, performance measurement, and improvement is necessary, right? That's why I'm using these terms service excellence, right? Not merely service quality as the customer perceive in terms of the quality of the service provided, but this is very much about the service excellence culture, right? Of continuously and comprehensively understanding, all right, and also disseminating and serving the internal and external customers, right, for excellent service and sustainability. So you can see I emphasize that it is a continuous and comprehensively understanding. You really have to find out, and you really need to know. From time to time, you really have to understand and have to measure, or you may have to talk to those relevant people, right? Yeah, in order to understand the internal customers and also the external customers. And from there, you do the necessary improvement or meeting the needs and wants from time to time, right? Because as we have been talking just now, these needs and wants are changing, and then the market requirements are changing. So you cannot be doing the same thing over the years, right? Like now, we can't go to campus physically. That's why we are changing to this online teaching and learning processes, right? In UITM, we call it ODL, Open Distance Learning. There are so many ways of that we are employing or using according to the customer's needs, our student needs. As long as we can teach, we can actually carry out the teaching and learning processes effectively and efficiently to benefit the various types of students, right? It can be a combination of online and offline, right? According to the various needs of the special group of students, right? Yeah, because some of them can be in the interior parts of the country, right? Yeah. So we really have to have a very good mix of methodology. Not only the teaching, we have to actually later on evaluate, we have to supervise, right? Yeah. Okay. So if we really read the history of the related theories, right? Like the marketing concept, right? I'm from the field of marketing, right? Because we understand that marketing is to put the interests of the customers first, right? So in the education sector, we have various stakeholders. So you will have to really put the interests of the various stakeholders, especially the students' interests first, right? Yeah, of course, not forgetting our internal customers, right? Just now we have heard we have to serve the internal and also the external customers, right? So putting the customers' interests first, like Peter Drucker, Levitt, and Churchill have been mentioning this for many years, right? And in the early 90s, right? Never and Slater, Colley and Jaworski, Despende, and others, right? Have actually operationalized, right? Conceptualized and operationalized this theory of market orientation. And you find that the various behaviors being emphasized and conceptualized were gathering the information and discussing the ways and means to do things, and also share the information, all right? So as Peter Drucker put it, marketing is not a specialized functional activity, but rather the whole business seen from the customer's point of view. And of course, Christian Grunrus, we emphasize the functional and technical aspects. So in higher learning institutions, in order to have this performance outcome, which is of excellence level, we really have to emphasize not only the technical aspect, but also the functional aspect, which are very much related to the attitudes, right? The way that we do things, right? And you will find that managing people comes into play, right? Because as we understand that different kinds of individuals or students or parents or employers, they really have different personality, you know. They have different personal culture, they have different expectations. So sometimes we just can't use the same method to teach all the students or supervise all the students using the same method. Yes, you have the various technical procedures and processes, but how you do it, that is the art of this service management as well, right? As I have said that certain groups of people or individuals, you may have to use different differentiated approaches, right? Yeah. So in marketing, we have this segmentation theory, right? Yeah. And from there, we divide the different individuals with different needs to form different segments, and then you will come out with the right strategies and tactics to serve these particular groups of people, right? So that is just to share with us in managing this higher education service. So staying close to the customers, right, is one of the key things for more successful organization, right? And of course, in the 1980s, we have groups of researchers and scholars, right? Like Prof. Roman Berry and Zygmunt, right? Conceptualizing the customer perceived service quality and customer needs satisfaction being emphasized. That's why we had this model like ServQual, ServPerf, and my colleague Prof. Fidaus Abdullah actually proposed this head path, right, for this higher education service performance, right? So you may be, when you have time, you search for these useful models, right, as your literature, and also some of the useful guides for us to manage higher education service. And of course, service dominant logic as being proposed by Bago and Lach. And of course, in 2008, I proposed this ServX, which is the service excellence culture, right? And lately, right, recently, I have improved it or look at it from the individual level. And I call it this My ServX, right? So this is a personal level culture of excellence, right? ServX is more to organizational level of service excellence culture. But I'm arguing that we have to actually look at it at a personal level as well, right? So I will call it, let it start from we ourselves, right? Let it start from the individual level, right? Whether an organization will be performing well or not, it depends on the individuals. So if the individuals have the culture of service excellence, right, which I call My ServX, you will find that then these institutions of higher learning will be able to, how to say, maintain this kind of level of quality and also even sustain the level of quality, right? So this culture of excellence for e-learning, especially like now, right, as we really need for this ODL and learning from home, online learning and offline learning, combination of these few approaches, you find that we really need to find the ways to serve the different types of customers, right? And we are going to emphasize this service management and sustainability, right? Like just now I'm sharing with you the journal Service Management and Sustainability, right? And you can see that that is the development of service management. And you can see that the service management organizations and service researchers worldwide have been emphasizing also this service excellence, right? Not merely the quality, but also higher than that customer perceived quality towards excellence, especially the culture of excellence, right? And for instance, before the 1990s, you find that it was a very much a goods-centered model of exchange, whereby the concepts of tangible, statics, discretion, transactions, and more to operant resources, right? Which you may want to call it more production-oriented kind of economy. But you find that in the 21st century is a very much a knowledge economy, service-centered model of exchange, whereby the organizations and individuals and the various processes involved are emphasizing intangibles. Like now I'm talking to you, it is an intangible service. If you listen to me and pay your attention and really appreciate this, you will be gaining more. And if you are engaging with me, I'm engaging with you, this online lecture sharing will be more meaningful and beneficial. And you will find that this is really needing this kind of core creation so that we can have this value being produced, right? And this is very much intangible, and it involves a lot of competences, dynamics, exchange processes, and relationship, right? And more to these operant resources involved, which are most likely the skills, the knowledge, right? And also this kind of relationship, right? So without this kind of relationship, let's say between your institutions, ITS, and also the individuals like Miss Rainey, right? To establish this relationship with the intended speakers, and also communicating and relating with the right attitude and also competencies, right? We best and also of course the technological resources. Basically today we can't have this online lecture service, right? So you will find that service management and sustainability is important. What we have, right? And then what we say, what we do, and how we do, we actually determine the level of the quality of these outputs and also the outcomes of the things that we are producing. And I always say this, service is everybody's business, right? And everybody's business is service, right? So service concerns what we have, what we do, and how we do things, right? And you can see that this involves the technical resources and also the functional resources, right? And this service excellence culture, which I will include the organizational level and also the individual level, right? Involves the attitudes, the behaviors, right? Data gathering, coordination, disseminating of the data in order to ensure that these intended services or products will be delivered successfully, right? And of course, sustainable service management is important, right? And it involves social inclusion, economic, and the natural components of this sustainable development, all right? Are we okay so far?
Yes, Pak.
Professor.
Yes, sir.
All right, then I proceed, huh? So we go into more technical, more difficult. I hope you can be with me, right? So I would like to share with you this academic service value chain for sustainability. Of course, as we know, we have these inputs, right, involving the inbound logistics, right, like transportation, materials handling, order processing, and so on. There are various processes and system involved to bring in the materials, like, of course, us bringing in the various documents, the processes, the various kind of equipments and facilities, including, of course, the students, right? Yeah, either locally or from international markets, right? I'm sure you also have local students and international students, and going through these teaching and learning operational processes, right? To, of course, to produce the outputs required by the markets, basically our graduates, so that it can be able to contribute. They have this knowledge and skills, and also the attitude, experience, right? So that they can do the work, right? That they are being assigned, right? So this higher education whole service value chain, if you want this higher education service to be of excellent quality, we really look at the whole value chain, which any level here or any terminal in the value chain, if it is not performing well or managing well, then it will affect the value of this higher education service. And of course, operational wise, it involves many processes like human resource management, procurement, right? And also the organizational culture, right? And service culture. And of course, in order to manage this whole value chain, you really have to plan for it and implement it, and of course, evaluate and check and continuously improve the various processes and procedures, right? Organizational wide. So you can see this plan, do, check, act, process, and system across the whole institutions, right? Either in that particular locality or other localities physically, or of course, virtually, right? So that is the situation that we have to understand, right? Okay. So the various processes and procedures involving the teaching and learning, the research and publication, industrial linkages, community services, we have to be continuously planned and implement and evaluated, and have to be continuously improved. Of course, different institutions, they have different, of course, being structured with various sections or departments or units to do the various planning processes, implementation processes, performance evaluations and improvement, auditing processes, and of course, rectification and continuous improvement, right? That's why in university, we have this academic and internationalization section or department. And also we have this education affairs department, right? And section. And like our university, we have these industrial linkages, right? And innovation, commercialization sections or department. And of course, we have this international office, right? We have the student services, right? So some of them will be taking care of the local services, and some of them will be taking care of the international services. So you can see that that is to take care of the entire value chain. Of course, with a lot of supportive services like the library, and also this computer ICT department. We also have the various labs and different faculties, different schools, and so on, right? So you can see that the various procedures and processes, systems will be well taken care of in order to create the intended value, right? To produce these more employable graduates, to have these competent employees who can teach, who can also research, who can also publish, who can also innovate and commercialize their research findings, right? And to not only benefit the students that we are teaching and learning together with us, and also working with others in other parts of the world, and to share information with other parts of the world, right? To improve the quality of life of the community locally and also internationally, right? So of course, now you can see that with this online teaching and learning, right? And also this research and publication and innovations, you find that the situation is even more borderless, right? With the advancement of ICT, right? So teaching and learning now is borderless. Just like now I'm talking from Kuching, you are in other parts of the world, right? So it can be very, very cost effective. It can be very efficient, and it can be so inclusive, right? Locally, internationally and all kinds of students. This is really an open, right? Open, massive, open online learning process, right? So thanks to the technology and also the individuals and groups who actually make this online sharing possible, right? Thanks to ITS. But of course, having said that, the environment that we are in is always changing. That's why you can see I frame it with this economic environment, social, cultural environment, legal, political environment, technological environment, right? The competition, nature and physical environment, globalization, right? All these are the variables which are changing, which all the institutions of higher learning and the individuals and groups of individuals, the various processes, we have to be reviewed from time to time, improved from time to time, right? For instance, like today, the secretariat has been contacting me, right? Using the right technology to reach me at the right time, right? Yeah. So to come up with this right quality, right volume, right service of this ITS guest lecture series, right? So this Rainy was using WhatsApp because that is the right technique, right, to reach me at the right time, right? Yeah, because some individuals, they may not be reading their emails, you know, so frequently, and sometimes you will need to really catch that person last minute and to inform that person last minute, you know, right? But if you are dealing with, let's say, individuals or institutions in China, for instance, you cannot use this technology, for instance, right? Because there are other technologies that you should be using to reach out to and to relate with other people in different nations, right? So you may have to use, for instance, WeChat, right? For instance, you have to use different kinds of communication channels, right? And if you use emails with them, maybe you cannot get them, or you may not be able to get the information back, right? Yes. So that's why I say serving different kinds of individuals or groups or institutions, we may have to use the appropriate strategies and also tactics, right, with the right technology and also with the right attitude. Okay, just now, that's why we say the technical aspect and also the functional aspect. Okay, so this service excellence is like a long journey, all right? Yeah, and then along the way there are hiccups, right? There are ups and downs. There are things that we really have to learn and consistently improve, right? Yeah, because the environment is changing, the customers that we are serving and the stakeholders are changing from time to time, right? All right, so I call it the journey for service excellence. And what we have, what we do, how we do things are important, right? Because just now I have been saying that service is everybody's business, right? You need different individuals and groups of individuals to be involved, right? To gather information, to discuss, to work together, and to improve together. That's why I like to say this. We actually work together, we grow and prosper together. Because in order to produce something excellent, we have to really work together, work with the right people, with the right attitude, and also using the right technology and strategies. And you will find that everybody's business is service. That's why I say in institutions of higher learning, we have various sections, departments, units involving various procedures with the various individuals in charge and doing, may they be technical people or supervisory people, managerial people or the directors. So they are doing, contributing part and parcel to the entire higher education service outcomes and outputs, right? So if all these people or individuals are not really performing very well, you will find that the entire value chain, any terminal of the entire value chain may be affected, right? So may you be the let's say the security officers or the cleaners or the chef or the computer technicians or the librarians, the clerks, and so on. Everybody in these institutions of higher learning is actually contributing to the entire higher education service, right? Everybody's business is service, and this higher education service is everybody's business, right? So we really have to take care of everybody, every process, every system, and then from time to time we improve, right? Yeah. And in the midst of doing this, of course, we have to emphasize this natural environment, and we have to emphasize cost effectiveness and profitability if it is a private higher learning institutions. And we have to emphasize this social inclusion in all these processes and systems, right? For us in a multiracial society, for instance, social inclusion may involve, let's say, human resource management, right? When you recruit, when you train, when you promote, when you actually, how to say, develop this individual, right? Through this professional development, even until they retire and so on, we really have to think of the various individuals, right? If it is a society with multiracial ethnic groups, then you also have to think of recruiting the various ethnic groups, promoting the various ethnic groups, and then train the various ethnic groups and so on. So that is what we mean by social inclusion as well, right? Yeah. And also people with a lower income group, lower educational level, with various religions, with various personalities and so on, right? And people in the rural area, in the suburban area, in the urban areas, and so on. So we have to think of all these different social demographic groups, right? When we are recruiting for students, teaching and learning processes, supervising, research and development, right? Publications, industrial linkages, innovations and commercializations, community services, and so on. So it has to be inclusive and cost-effective, and also taking care of the natural environment, so as to have this sustainable educational service management and development, right? And of course, this needs solid foundation for service excellence. And there are various components we need to be emphasized, right? And I emphasize that we have to be stressing this service of excellence at an individual level, right? Just I've been talking about these individuals of different types, different units, and taking care of different processes are playing their part. So this managing, either you plan, do, check, act, you have to involve the individuals and the individual levels kind of service attitudes, whether they are actually emphasizing the excellence performance, excellent performance or not. And in terms of the processual level, because I've been saying that there are various processes and procedures involved with the various systems, may they be the physical system or the online system, right? Offline, online, we have to be mixed, to be managed together to produce the favorable outputs and outcomes in education. And the whole organizational level kind of culture needs to be emphasized, right? Because from the organizational level, you may have to look at the overall, the objectives, right? The quality objectives, and also the overall, let's say the client charter, customers, client this charter, and also the overall, let's say the goals and missions of the entire institution or organization. So you can see that it involves all the individuals and processes now, right, to move these institutions to the to achieve the objectives, right, and also the mission and vision. And it can be the whole community as a whole, whether they are working together or they are actually, we are serving the community. So you can see that this service level can be at the community level that will be led by the community leaders, of course, right? Or it can be at the provincial level or the state level. Like us in Malaysia, we have various states and region, right? And then we have this West Malaysia and East Malaysia. East Malaysia, again, we have this Sabah and Sarawak. And of course, West Malaysia, we have many states. So you find that the performance can be at the state level, right? So the various states, we have to be well managed. So if it is in Indonesia, again, we have many provinces, right? In Kalimantan itself, or already we have different parts of Kalimantan, right? And of course, if all these are performing well, then the national level objectives and goals with the visions and missions of the nations, the entire sustainable development of the nations will be achieved, right? And of course, we need to work with other nations as well, right? So this service to other parts of the world, right? And you can see that the students can come from different parts of the world. The researchers and the academia, the faculty members can be working with other parts of the world, right? To research, to publish, right? And to also commercialize things, right? And teaching and learning also involves other nations, like what we are doing now, right? So you can see that this higher education involves many levels, right? Ranging from the individual level, we have to be managing the service very well with the right culture of service excellence, and processual level, organizational, community level, state level, national level, and also international level, right? Okay. And I have been saying that for this sustainable educational service, we emphasize these triple bottom lines for sustainability. And of course, managing this service, we need to emphasize the natural environmental aspect, the cost effectiveness aspect and profitability aspect, and also the social inclusion, right? So now I want to share with all of us the empirical research of service excellence, especially for higher education, right? So I did this years ago in search of this service excellence in terms of the organization, right? So of course, this research process started with this review of the relevant literature in service management, in marketing, in market orientation, right? And identifying the various dimensions of culture of excellence for the institution, all right? And of course, with that, went through the qualitative phase of understanding the culture of excellence, right? Going through rounds of groups interviews with the students, and also talking to the relevant experts in terms of this culture of excellence in higher education. And with that, the various dimensions were identified with the various items of the dimensions of culture of excellence being tentatively identified to design the instrument to gauge the culture of excellence from the student's perspective. And after that, it was pre-tested and went through the first round of data collection to measure this culture of excellence from the student's perspective. And of course, then went through the quantitative data analysis, checking the reliability and validity of this instrument, and finally found this measurement called SERVEX, right? Service Excellence Culture, right? So the qualitative techniques through group discussions with the relevant parties were very useful to understand the students' perspective of culture of excellence. And I would like to share with all of us these 6 dimensions of culture of excellence, which I found. All right. Number 1, the institution should be having this customer orientation, meaning to say they put the interest of the customers first, right? Customer service commitment is monitored from time to time, and understanding the customer needs, delivering quality service to the customers, and also measuring the customer satisfaction, and knowing what the customers really preferred. For instance, what kind of courses being preferred by the students, so that they can get the jobs, or they can learn what they really would like to learn. And also after sales service. After, let's say, students finish that particular course, or finish that particular program, or finish that particular process, or finish that particular teaching and learning, of course, after sales service is also very important, right? That's why we have this alumni also service, right? Those are already graduated, also we are taking care of them. And those already graduated also can take care of the universities or the institutions, right? Right? So we are taking care of them. They are also taking care of us. That's why I say it is actually a long journey, right? It's just like, remember the all big tree? It is a long journey in education, right? It doesn't stop there. Let's say 3 years or 4 years. It is a continual process. And this culture of excellence also emphasizes this competitor orientation. Because whatever we are doing, we also want to know what other people are doing, right? And then relatively, whether we are doing better than others or not. So we have to know the competitors or counterparts, right? For instance, like us, our campus, how does our campus fare in terms of these quality practices or quality of the graduates and teaching and learning processes and so on, or publication and research and so on? We always need to know what other campuses or other universities are doing, right? Yeah, so that we can be better than them, right? So that we will also learn from them, okay? So responsive to competitors, knowledge on competitors, strategic customers targeting, these are important. And whatever we are doing, it has to be better than others, right? And we must be also different from others, okay? So like ITS is doing is trying to be different from others, right? You are not only using this online teaching and learning process, but you are doing things for free, you see. So these are things that we are doing, but different from others, okay? And you can be very individualized in serving the customers, very, very personalized in your communication, right? And also in relating with the individuals or groups of individuals, so that you can be much better than others, right? So we always have to really know ourselves, know the market, know the others, in order to win the competition, right? I'm sure you also know about this Sun Tzu Art of War. Sun Tzu Art of War emphasizes this: knowing ourselves, knowing others, right? And the situation, then you will surely win the war, right? So that is one of the attitudes and also the behaviors. And of course, interfunctional coordination is important because just now we have been saying that service is everybody's business. Everybody's business is service. In order to put the customer's interest first, and in order to really co-produce this higher education service so that we can have the best higher education service to benefit the targeted customers, we really need to coordinate with other functions or units or individuals, right? And the fourth aspect is the performance orientation. I have been emphasizing things that we are doing, the ways that we are doing, right? Or things that we are having must be very good, right? We must emphasize performance, not really mediocre or moderate performance, right? Sorry. Right? So the other thing is long-term orientation. I have been saying this higher education is a long-term service, I would say, because the students that we are serving, you really have to think long-term and think of the future of the students, right? So if you have that kind of philosophy and mentality, you will tend to have these teaching and learning processes differently and much better. Because whatever we have, whatever we do, right? And the ways that we do it, we think of the future of the stakeholders and the students, right? So for instance, when you have this particular course, we have to really make sure that this particular course, later on when the students graduate, they can really get a job. Or when we are teaching using this method, we really have to make sure that this particular method is relevant and useful for the students, not only now, but also in future, and also for their employers and organizations, and also for the market that they are in, the community that they are serving. So if there is the culture, then you will find that the technology that we have, the resources that we have, the attitudes that we are actually having will be different, because you are actually think of long-term of ourselves and also others, right? So if that is the case, you will tend to invest in the service structure, infrastructure to cater the needs of the intended stakeholder. And you will tend to emphasize this long-term service satisfaction. You even emphasize the personality, the attitude, not only our employees, but also the students. That's why when you want to, when you are teaching and supervising, you think of the future of the students, right? Yeah. It's just like the tree, right? It takes, remember, 100 years to educate and nurture and to train. And you think of the future. And of course, employee orientation, right? For this culture of service excellence, we really need the quality employees. So if that is the case, you emphasize this recruitment, the training, and also the professional development, right? And also the ethical aspects of the employees, right? Yeah. So I will say that these are the 6 dimensions of service excellence at the organizational level. And empirically, I tested the consequences of this culture of excellence, and it was found that it impacted the customer perceived service quality positively, right? and also their satisfaction and loyalty to the organization, which is the university, right? And of course, I will say that this organizational level, it is maybe still not enough. We really have to bring it down to the individual level, whereby the individual employees, we need to really have this individual culture of excellence, right? So I call it the personal service excellence attitude, right? From organizational to individual, the level of service excellence, right? So it starts with me kind of mentality, right? So if the employees, we have this kind of mentality that every individual, we have to really have that kind of service and have that kind of way of teaching and learning and doing their work, and also to emphasize this long-term orientation and also performance, then we find that the overall service excellence in higher education will be achieved and sustained. Of course, it is not easy, really not easy. Attitude is crucial for an individual's success and happiness in life, not only in the university, because this deals with the individual's well-being and also the quality of the work, and that is actually very much affected by also the personal well-being and also the emotion and the professionalism and the ethics of the individual, right? So one needs to consistently and continuously believe, have, and do the right things, right, to achieve and sustain the expected level of satisfaction for happiness. If one is happy and emotionally stable and positive, you find that that particular person will be able to contribute most significantly, and will be able to produce service of very high quality level. However, there are various aspects that an individual needs to correctly and holistically recognize and do accordingly. In line with the dynamic systems and also the environmental changes, right? And a lot of them you will find it rather uncontrollable, right? So you will find that this individual's service attitude is very important, right? Not only to serve that particular person's himself or herself, but also serving others, right? Serving the nature and also the supernatural, I would say. Because in order to produce this something of high quality, you really have to be good to yourself first. You have to take care of yourself, right? And then you have to take care of other individuals, and also taking care of the nature, remember, the natural environment, right? And also supernatural. What I mean is the spiritual aspect, right? You have to take care of your own belief system, right? Yeah. Referring to this literature by Confucius, you find that these Confucian values for service excellence. I think I wrote a chapter on this, right, in the Chopstick marketing book, right, of this Marketing Asia group led by this Professor Kim Pham, right? And I actually identify this very, very much the heart-related aspects of service attitudes. You find that if you read this Lun Yi, documented by actually Confucius, right? So I term it as Confucian values for service excellence. The areas which been emphasized: humaneness, righteousness, loyalty, filial piety, ritual, propriety, right? And knowledge aspect, faithfulness, reciprocity, tolerance, sincerity, respect. All these are related to the individual's heart, right? So in Chinese, it's called the sin, the sin. Yeah, it's your heart, right? Yeah, right. So ranging from the morality aspect, the spirituality aspect, and also the attitudes towards others, even towards the deceased, towards parents and towards the deceased, right? So this is the Asian values. You will find it, these individuals' cultural values are very important, so that that particular individual, we have the right attitude, we have the right personality to actually associate with others and to contribute positively to the higher education service. So I say the heart really matters, right? The heart really matters. Whether you will be able to produce this high quality service to the various stakeholders like students, the parents, the employers, the governments, the community, and also to your own universities, right? Like students are also contributing to other students, lecturers, other employees in the universities, and also other individuals or groups of individuals that you are associating with. So I'm saying that it is very important to serve ourselves very well, serving others very well, serving the nature very well, and also the supernatural entities very well, right? So my service, which is at the individual level, the personal culture of service excellence, right, which stands for my service excellence, and it helps to measure the individual's attitudes of continuously and comprehensively understanding, disseminating and serving his or her own self, right, others, nature, and the supernature for happiness and sustainability. So if we have this kind of individuals with this kind of personal culture, we will find that the entire higher education service will be of very high level of quality and will sustain. But of course, again, it is not easy. So in order to really empirically test this, I did a few surveys to identify the dimensions and items, of course, adapting the survey's instrument and relating it with other meaningful variables like happiness and their performance in what they are doing. Okay. So it was extended to this individual level, as you can see here, organizational level, just now we have seen, and also the individual level must have this kind of attitudes as well, right? And just now I have been saying that serving ourselves, serving others, the nature, and others. So there are in fact 15 scales which I adapted to measure the individual's attitudes towards these different parties and the nature and supernature, right? But you can see that these 6 components are reliable and valid after the empirical testing. My service excellence attitude at the individual level, consisting of these 6 components of customer orientation, competitor orientation, interfunctional, performance orientation, and long-term orientation, and also this co-producer orientation. Because in order to produce this excellent service, you need to co-produce in order to create these values. Like today, I'm co-producing with Rainy and also Gita, right? And also together with you, so that we can have this guest lecture series happening now. So if you are not attending, I'm not talking, you are not paying attention, basically this particular process is not beneficial, right? It is not going to materialize. So you can see this co-production or co-creation of value is very important. So you need to really work together and cooperate with the producers and also the consumers, to have this meaningful service in terms of education. So I tested this my surveys on 203 students pursuing this Malaysian University English test, and found that this personal service excellence attitudes has this positive relationship with the performance of this English performance of the students, right? So this is one of the my surveys, which is the service towards that particular person, right? For instance, you really take care of yourself, right? And then you try to be much better than others in taking care of yourself. And then you work with others to take care of yourself. You really emphasize performance in taking care of yourself. And you actually continue to learn. And you think of the future of yourself. You actually co-produce with others in order to take care of yourself. This kind of service to yourself and love yourself, right? In Chinese, we have this self-love concept, right? In Mandarin, we call it 自爱. 自爱. 自爱 means love on self, right? You really have to love yourself. You have to know yourself. You have to know what is good for yourself. And then you will do things good for yourself. Not only now, but also your future. And you will work with others to love yourself, right? Yeah. So if you have that kind of attitude towards yourself, which I call it my cervix bracket self, you will find that it will lead to a high performance of what you are doing. And also your personal happiness. You can see I found this significant association with personal happiness. So that is very important. If you have this personal happiness, if you are happy in your life, you will tend to produce quality things, right? Whatever you do will be much better than others, right? So that is what life is all about, right? It's happiness. Not only the momentous happiness, but it is in fact the happiness within, right? So there is such a joy inside us, that kind of happiness. And that joy inside us will only come because we ourselves is doing well. We ourselves is doing the right thing. We ourselves is ethical, is of high morality. We are actually taking care of others, taking care of our family members, taking care of our parents, taking care of even respecting the deceased even, right? And also taking care of our colleagues and employees. And we are respecting others and also our neighbors. If we are having that kind of lifestyle and attitudes, there is such a joy inside our heart, which money cannot buy, right? So that kind of personal happiness, right? Yeah. So if that kind of joy is in you, I'm very sure that whatever you do will be of very, very high quality, right? So I just want to share with all of us that this personal level kind of culture of service excellence, my cervix, in fact, the individual service attitudes, not only to ourselves and also to our customers. If you are a married person, then it's your service to your spouse, right? Your service attitudes towards your family, towards your colleagues, towards your nature, towards God, right? You believe in God, so it's your service attitudes towards God, right? That's why I call super nature. And your service attitudes towards your parents, your friends, right? And also cross-cultural individuals, your service attitudes towards sustainability, and towards yourself, if you're a parent, towards your children, towards your superior, right? Your bosses, right? Towards the community, towards people of special ability, right? So your attitudes towards the OKU, right? Orang kelainan upaya, we call it, right? Yeah, we call them. Okay. So this kind of service attitudes at a personal level, right? I call it the MyServex system with this 15 differentiated scales to gauge the service attitudes of an individual, right? So you can continue to measure and monitor your service attitudes towards yourself, towards your parents, towards your friends, and so on with this, I call it the MyServex scorecard, right? So you can produce this as you answer these 32 questions online. You can produce this kind of colorful cards to know your strengths and weaknesses, and you can improve from time to time. So you can produce, or in this case, there is a radar chart here, right? Yeah, radar chart here to know where you are performing well and where you are really need to improve, right? And so we can see that service excellence for academic sustainability, we really need to emphasize the culture of excellence at the organizational level, managing the entire higher education service value chain. And of course, we understand that this organization consists of many individuals, groups of individuals. So what I'm arguing is that the individuals have to have this right service attitudes. Not only merely the service attitudes, but the service excellence attitude. Because whatever that we have, whatever that we do, the way that we do things must be of excellent performance. Not only moderate performance, moderate quality, but high quality kind of higher education service performance, right? So if that is the organizational culture, emphasizing high quality performance in the inbound logistics, operations, outbound logistics and activities, that will create very high values for the intended stakeholder. And of course, together with the very high quality management of the human resource management, procurement, organization, and service culture. And of course, in order to have this high level of organizational culture, we really need to plan, do, and check and improve the system and processes across the whole institution, right? And of course, all these processes and procedures have to be in line with the changes of the environment, right? The economic, social, cultural environment, technological environment, natural, physical environment, legal, political, globalization environment, right? Okay. So as we are actually managing this higher education service and the various processes and systems, we must emphasize the quality of the technical aspects and also the functional aspects, right? So if every station here or system and processes are doing well, then the value created will be, of course, of high level, right? Okay. So let us revise. This academic service excellence will be from organizational level to individual level, right? So you find that the entire organizational culture has to be emphasizing the excellence and also the individual level, right? It starts with me, that kind of attitude. right? So if every individual in the organization is having this individual culture of excellence, then you will find that this higher education or academic quality will be very high and will be sustainable. All right. So with that, I thank you all of you for participating and be with me. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor Voon, for
Yes.
very inspiring presentation about service excellence. So for you, the participant, you can directly ask the question by raising your hand or typing in the chat box. And we have found one question from Heru Budi Prastio. So kindly, Heru Budi Prastio, you can open your mic.
Yeah.
So you can ask directly. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, thank you for your very good presentation about the education. Excellent. Yeah. There is any one question maybe about the nowadays about the education is sometimes we see that it's like a new model of business. Yeah, because some of the organization or maybe school they need to operate the operational of this kind of business like a business like that. So but the another hand there is any platform or maybe some application that provide us about the material about education that we can download and we can use it for learning like that. So what do you think about this about the teachers is they are still we need as the substance as the I mean very very important for us to learning or the application can substitute the teachers fundamentally like that. Yeah, and then how to combine about the teachers, I mean learning conventionally by face to face and also combine with the application that we can download from the web or internet like that, so we can get the education more better and effectively. Maybe like that, Mr. Prof. Voon. Thank for your time and your presentation. Thank you.
So that is a comment or suggestions, huh?
Yeah,
What
I
is the
mean,
question?
yeah, my question is about what do you think about the about the teachers? Is still we need teachers to teach us in conventionally like face to face, or we can substitute the teachers with the application of education like that. And the secondly is how to combine them to get the education effectively.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you, Hero. Is it Hero Budi?
Yes, Heru Budi Prastio. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. I think especially situation like now, we really have to have this multi-channel kind of processes, right? That's why in higher education, higher education, we call it the ODL, right? Open distance learning, right? So we actually open to various kinds of individuals. Like ITS now is opening to various kinds of individuals to attend this interesting lecture, right? So that is social inclusion, and with the right channel, right? Because yeah, in order to serve certain individuals or groups of individuals, we use online, right? Like now we are using online successfully, right? And also certain individuals we may have to use offline, right? But of course, with this COVID-19 pandemic, we have to be very careful right? Yeah, it depends on different parts of the nation as well, right? So because we need to take care of the well-being of the individuals, right? So if, for instance, the nature of the course is not necessary to come physically, right? Then we actually don't let them come physically, right? If they really need to come physically, like certain courses, we also have to follow certain SOPs, we call it, right? Like they have to be vaccinated already 2 times. Then that is one of the requirements, right? And also other SOPs must follow. Then if necessary, certain courses, they have to come to campuses. So we also have to how to say, do it slowly, right? Because at the end, we really want these students' health to be taken care of, and also the community, right? Because as we know, this COVID-19 pandemic has to be very carefully managed, right? Yeah. So we have this ODL, open and distance learning, to suit different types of students for different courses, even for certain geographical areas as well. So you can see, we really have to find the right mix of approach, online, offline, and really have a nice mix of this online, offline approaches for different groups of students for different types of courses, right? So I think that is the situation a lot of countries are facing. Indonesia is also facing this, I think. Malaysia is also facing this. And of course, a country like China is, they are actually having more physical learning and teaching and learning processes, right? But country like Malaysia, we are still very, very careful. And then we go by staggered and very, very well, have to be very, very prudent in managing the teaching and learning processes now. But by and large, still learning from home, right? ODL at the time being. Okay. I hope I have tried to answer you. Dosen, hello? Dosen, hello?
Yeah, so you mean that this online education is just for a while, not good for to continue is the education online like that, yeah, Mr. Prof.
I think after these 1.5 years of online teaching and learning, a lot of individuals actually love this online teaching and learning, right? For certain courses, I'm not sure whether you are facing this situation or not. A lot of individuals like us in the business and management faculty, a lot of individuals, may they be the lecturers or the students, they find that this ODL, right, a mix of online and distance learning procedures of teaching and learning are very, how to say, satisfactory, right? And academically, they also can perform well or even better, right? So, of course, with the very good service provided by the teachers and also co-producing with the students, we are cooperating very well with the various open and distance learning procedures. We have online teaching and learning with the various techniques, and our Ministry of Education, Ministry of Higher Education also have the experts sharing with us, and the educators also sharing with us their best practices, right, for quality assurance and also improvement we have a lot of new procedures, right? Yeah, to ensure the quality of the teaching and learning, right? The teaching and also the evaluation, right? So after COVID-19, Docent Hero, whether we will use this or people will prefer this online teaching and learning or not, I think a lot of people are quite happy with this learning from home as well, right? It will be good. It will be good if we have certain percentage really learning from home, certain percentage go to physical, right? I think a lot of countries have been practicing that. For certain courses, I would say, for certain courses are possible. But for certain courses, you really need the lab session, right? Like in the medical, for the medical courses, dentistry, engineering, culinary art, right? Even some of the architectural courses, design courses, and so on, performing arts and so on. Maybe certain courses we be different compared to social sciences courses. So maybe different institutions that we have a different mix of approaches in teaching and learning, right? Yeah, but by and large, a lot of people are quite comfortable with this learning from home, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is the change of this teaching and learning processes after this COVID-19.
Also, Mr. Prof.
Yeah.
Also working from home too.
Yeah, working from home for for our health sake. Yeah, because that is very important because not only ourselves, right? We have to take care of others. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. If one person is infected, it will affect others, right?
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. How many percent will be online and offline? Cikgu, Docent Hero, how many percent work from home that you will like?
Combine maybe it's good, 50-50.
50-50, yeah. 60-40, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Prof, for your explanation. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
So the different countries, different courses, different regions may use different approaches. Yeah. Okay. Yes, Gita?
Okay. Thank you for the good question and discussion. So we just know what the prospect of the sustainability education for now and go on. And then maybe one question.
Yeah.
For you guys, if you want to ask, you can directly raise your hand or type in the chat box in this Zoom application. So if no have any question, maybe I think the time is up. It has already 5:20 here. So thank you so much, Professor Voon, for very inspiring presentation about the sustainable education.
Yeah.
And then I really appreciate for your speech. And then I will give back the time to our MC, Denti.
Yeah, thank you, Ibu Gita. And also thank you very much to Professor Voon for the excellent lecture today.
Yeah.
And please give a round of applause to our speaker and moderator by using the Zoom reaction feature. Thank you. And furthermore, we would like to present a certificate awardee to our speaker and moderator today. Yeah, and this is the certificate for Professor Voon.
Wow. So finally,
yeah.
we'll be like this. Thank you very much. Very nice.
Thank you, Professor. And then for the next, we will have the certificate for Ibu Gita, our moderator.
Wow, Gita one is very colorful, Ibu Gita.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Once again, thank you very much to our speaker, Professor Voon, and also Ibu Gita for moderating our session today and for your availability on today's guest lecture series. And we believe that your lecture will be useful for our participants. And now, before we end our lecture today, we invite all of the participants as well as the honorable speaker and moderator to take a group photo.
Yeah.
And to all the participants, please open your camera. Okay.
Later on, you will send a group photo to me, yeah?
Yeah, sure.
Ah, boleh, ah?
Yeah, for our committee, we'll send it to you.
Good.
Okay, maybe we will wait for another second for our participants to be ready and open their camera. And because here we have around 3 slides, please show your best smile to the camera, and I will count for each slide. So I will start from the first slide. 1, 2, 3, smile. And then for the next slide, 1, 2, 3, and then the last slide, 1, 2, 3. Okay. Thank you, everyone. And now we have finished our group photo. I will inform for all the participants, please fill in the feedback form through the link bit.ly/feedback_GLS so that you can see in our chat box as well. And the deadline for filling the feedback form is 1 hour after we finish this session. And we want to remind you that the participants who will get the stamp are the participants who come on time, join this event until the end, and also fill the feedback form. And for the next week, we will have 4 interesting topics in 2 different streams. And we will also talk about SDGs number 4, which is the quality education. And for the stream 1, we will have Associate Professor Wan Abdul Rahim Wan Muhammad Isa that will be talk about training soft system methodology or SSM for community IT-based project. And Mr. Sheikh Raihan Ul Islam that will be talk about digitalization as a core pillar for institutional sustainability DIU experience. And for the other stream, we will have Dr. Rex Lim that will talk about No Child is Left Behind, and Miss Wan Juliana Emi Wahid that will be talk about the beauty of Wakungu design motifs. And finally, we have reached the end of today's guest lecture series, and I, Danti, as the Master of Ceremony on behalf of all the committee in charge, sincerely apologizing for any mistakes we may have made during today's event. Thank you very much for our honorable speaker and moderator and all the participants for the attention and cooperation. We hope to see you soon in other events in the future. And do not forget to follow our social media on Instagram and also Facebook, IPS International Office, and keep updated of our programs. Once again, good afternoon. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
Thank
wabarakatuh.
you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Voon. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Gita.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Professor Voon and Ibu Gita for conducting this event. And thank you for all participants and see you on the next week. Allow me to end this session in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Stay safe all.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
All the best. Yeah. Take care.